Okay, another update. Not so bad today. Did a lot of reading on the internet. Everything's 9 to 8 searches all the time. Lots of people mentioned to check this. I don't know what you call it, air, auxiliary air, whatever it is. The fact that there's a flap in it that sort of is open, and then as the engine gets warm, it closes. I did check yesterday after I had it running, even though it wouldn't tick over, but once it got I warmed it up a bit, that did close. And I've just checked this morning because it was a bit colder this morning, and there's a decent gap there. I think it depends on what temperature is, ambient temperature, but I wouldn't say it was halfway, but there's a good gap for air to get through, and it seems free, and seems to move what it should do. I've sort of took the idle screw out, because people said that could be blocked. I don't think it was. It was pretty carboned up, so I sort of got a long wire brush, sort of pipe cleaner thing down there, cleaned it out and washed it out, and cleaned the screw off and put that back in. Next thing I tried was this, which is that IAC, idle air control valve, which is similar to that, but I think that, I don't know when it's meant to be open exactly. It's not live when the ignition's on, but when the engine's running, it clicks. Now, I took it apart, and there's basically just looks like, there's not a plunger you can see that pulls down, but something inside it, because I was blowing down it, and then when I tried it at first, nothing was happening, and I energized it, and it didn't seem to click or do anything. So I took it off, got it in the bench, and scraped it out of it inside, and a lot of brake cleaner, then some WD-40, and then kept activating it, and it clicked, and then I could blow through it. So I think it was stuck in their shut position, and I kept working it, bit of WD-40, and then blew it out and whatever, and I put it on the car, and then it ticked over. It ticks over sort of a little bit high, then it dips down, sits around 1,000 for a few seconds, 30 seconds, 40 seconds, and then it does eventually die. But I've not really set the timing. I've backed the timing off a little bit because I was just guessing at the timing, because I can't get my timing light on it because it's not running for long enough. I backed the timing off a little bit because when it was starting, it was sort of, sort of doglegging, like the timing was too advanced. So I backed the timing off a bit, and it doesn't do that now. So yeah, it starts up and doesn't sound as lumpy as before. Sounds a lot better. Obviously, I don't know what the injectors are doing. I've got a feeling it's either too weak or too rich. I'm not sure which. The fact that the fuel pump is still on I ran a separate switch. So what I do is flick the switch for a second, start it. Once it's started, then flick the pump on, and then it runs. If I try and flick the switch on and try and start it, sometimes it doesn't start. I think it floods itself. So that makes me more think that it's too rich, which that's possibly why it's cutting out, because it's not got enough air to go with the amount of fuel it's chucking in, and it just dies eventually. So I'm going to I think I'm going to take the mixture screw. Doesn't seem to make a lot of difference, but the problem is I can't have it running to check it. So I might take this off. I know there's a gasket on it. I might take this off and then look at what's underneath and make sure that's not chewed up and that's free. And then what I might have to do is adjust that a bit, maybe free that off so I can adjust it a bit, and then adjust it a half a turn, try it, adjust it, and play about with it like that. It could be there's an issue with this item, which is I think that gives you more fuel pressure when it's hotter or less, or it does something. It's got a environmental. There's ways of checking that. That's one of my next things to check. So there is that to check. The cold start I don't know about, because it does start up okay, so I don't think that's necessarily an issue. And I can always disconnect that to eliminate that if that's sticking on. I can always disconnect that and eliminate that. I'm not sure about the fuel pressure. Obviously, everybody's going to say, yeah. I probably can get a gauge and check it, but I need to have it running for a bit longer. So yeah, there's a few more things to check, but I'm happy that it runs a bit better now. There's a bit of oil around the bell housing where the starter was, and I'm not sure if what's come out has come out of the starter or it's come out of the back seal when it was full of fuel, because it did have quite a lot of fuel in the oil, and the oil will also be thinner. Whether it's forced it out there or it's got past there, shouldn't really, but it could be that. If what I'll probably end up having to do is once it's running and ticking over okay, I'll probably have to take the starter off while it's running, and take the bell housing off while it's running and have a look and see if I can see where it's coming from. Could be the sump. I didn't like the way the gasket tightened up all right, but you know, it's a cork gasket and you kind of can over tighten it or whatever, so maybe it's the sump gasket leaking a bit. I don't know. It did leave a bit of a puddle, but it's hard to tell because it's chucking oil out the exhaust, because the exhaust has still got fuel and exhaust in it and it's smoking quite a bit still. So I was going to run it up and down the road and have an inaugural drive, but I resisted the temptation because I've been topping up the ATF fluid, because I did the service, obviously seen on a previous video, and I've not got a proper pumpy tool, so I've been using like one of the little oil cans that you just go like that with a pipe on and pumping it. And the way they say to do it is like fill it up, run it and put it through the gears a bit, and then fill it up and keep doing it. And I've put loads in. I don't know how many it takes. I think I might have put about 6 litres in, 7 litres. I don't know how many it takes. But I did empty the torque converter as well. So I really want to have that full up and then run it and then check it and make sure the level doesn't go down before I drive it up and down the road. Probably won't do much any damage if it's a bit low, but it does seem to, once I run it and put it through the gears, it does seem to zap what's in the reservoir and it's empty again. So I don't really want to, you know, just for the sake of having a bit of fun driving up and down the road, I'd rather wait and fill that up. So yeah, a few more things to check. If I can get it running for long enough, I will do the timing. And then once I've done the timing, it may be a timing issue. I don't think so, because it doesn't sound horrendous when it's revving up. I think it's more likely possibly injectors, possibly that airflow meter, but I think both of these two items seem to be doing what they're doing. That moves when it should move. That seems to move hot and cold like it should. Not sure how I'm going to work out how to check that. Cold start, I might see if I can check that as well. And like I say, the mixture screw play about with. Just a few things to still look at. Possibly the pressure regulator. But I don't know if the pressure's right, but I believe when you adjust this, it adjusts how much it sprays in when it's on idle. So if it's too rich, it's going to be spraying too much on idle. So I need to sort of make sure that pin is moving as it should move, and well, what's underneath there is not rounded off and it's moving as it should move. So I can actually put the air cleaner on and adjust it while it's running and get the mixture out. My local MOT man is very, very good. He's pretty good at letting me use his emissions tester while he's on his dinner. I think he enjoys looking at some of the old cars, so I'll probably go and see him once it's driving. Goes in all the gears, like I said the other day, all the lights work and stuff. There's a bit of oil come out the cam belt tensioner. People have mentioned this before, that sometimes they put oil in, it comes out, and some people say, oh, you don't need any oil, and some people say you do. I think I'm going to leave it and see how it is until the car's running properly. I don't think the belt's going to come off or out like stupid like that. And I think what I'm going to do is, obviously only a certain amount will come out, because it's once it gets below the level of the angle of the tensioner, there'll still be some in it, and there's still some against the block on this one as well. So it probably will still sort of do its job. But what I'm intending to do is, once it's running up and running and stuff, I shall check the tension when it's cold again. Now it's been run a little bit. Then warm it up to temperature, take it for a bit of a burn, take the covers off, and while it's hot, check the tension again. And as long as the tension's within the boundaries of the tensioner, I think we're good. I mean, I don't want to keep taking the cam belt off and taking the tension off if I don't need to. As long as the belt's not too tight when it's hot, then I'm not too fussed really, to be honest. I'll need to check the water again and the oil again, but yeah, I'll see if I can start it up just so you can have a bit of a listen to it. One thing I have noticed is, I know for a fact the alternator was charging before, and the alternator it seems to be just over 12 volts, so I don't think the alternator's charging, and I did have it checked, so I'm assuming potentially that that the guys basically checked it, and maybe it's to do with the wiring or when I've put it back together. I'll see if I can hold my phone in one hand, because I've got a little toggle switch wired through the boot just so I can switch the pump on. See if I can wedge my phone. Okay, so I've got ignition lights. Sounds a little bit lumpy, but not horrendous. But you can see oil pressure's nice, even when it's dropping down. It doesn't seem to be charging. Yeah, oil pressure seems really good, but you can see it's hunting a little bit. And if you tickle the throttle, it'll keep running. But eventually, all in all, I've obviously got a stop lamp not working, but that's not my problem. But yeah, that's about it for now. Let's knock it off. So yeah, that's basically the gist of it. It's running now and nearly idling. I don't think it's far off me getting it to idle enough so I can sort of set it up. That's me key. It may be what I'm going to have to do is get my son here giving me a hand. He doesn't do anything else to help me, so get my son here and keep it just tickling the throttle, keeping it going, or hold it at 3000 so I can do the timing, so I know the timing's right. I believe, if you know any different, tell me different, but I believe you block both of these vacuums off, and then you check the timing like that. 26, there's a mark 26, I think, at 3000 revs, and that's it, and then you put the pipes back on afterwards. That's what I'm intending to do. Obviously, somebody did mention, and well spotted, that there's no pipe on here. What I have actually got is a catch can, and the idea is I'm going to run a pipe to sort of here. I'm going to make a bracket for the catch can to sort of sit here. It's not very big. Let's see if I might even mount it to that wing bracket and sit it here. Maybe here. But a catch can with it's got like a level on the side, and a drain at the bottom. So my idea is to put that there a bit lower than this, and then have a pipe coming from there to the end of the air cleaner. So there doesn't seem to be anything coming out of here now. Before it was spitting, you know, when that gasket was gone, it was spitting everything out. So it seems to get up to half. I got it up to sort of half temperature. It wasn't about halfway on the temperature gauge, and it seemed quite happy. And the water looks the right colour and whatever. So head gasket wise, I think we're fine. As you can see, it's still smoking, a bit of smoke. I've got my fan on, but I think I've kind of washed the exhaust out after all the oil was in it. But then also now I filled it with fuel again, so it's got fuel and oil in it. So I think eventually it'll burn off, and I'm not going to know if it smokes or not for a long time, I don't think. But once it's idling okay, and I'm happy that it's idling okay, and there's stuff in the gearbox, it's taxed an MOT, so I can take it for a good run, hopefully clear it out a little bit. I've put some like Red X stuff in the fuel tank as well, quite a bit of it. Hopefully that, if there's an injector problem, that might help the injectors. It may well need injectors. It may well be that the injectors are staying open or something, but I don't think so, because it revs up okay. So I think it's just mixture, timing, the usual sort of culprits. I might have an air leak, but I can't see anything or feel anything. But I think the next thing to check on the list is see if I can check the resistance or whatever in that. You can get rebuild kits, so if I suspect it's that, I might do a rebuild kit, because I'm doing all the cheaper things first, because injectors are like 320 quid for the set. Even if I rebuild the metering head thing, 66 quid for the kit to do that. I'm sure perfectly capable of doing that. So yeah, that's it. So if you're enjoying the vids, please subscribe. More people are, and I'm getting quite a lot of likes, and any comments, feel free. Need all the help I can get. Right, see you next time.